bodies appearing in rivers, remains discovered in dense forests, women gone without explanation, then found days later under deeply mysterious conditions. Since the start of 2025, a wave of bizarre, unexplained deaths has sent a chilling ripple through the peaceful, postcard towns of New England. From the marshy coastlines of Connecticut to the wooded hills of Rhode Island and into the quiet suburbs of Massachusetts and Maine, the numbers have risen. So far, 13 bodies, mostly women, have been recovered in just a matter of months. But here's the twist. Authorities say there's no connection, no known suspects, no criminal patterns, just tragedy, coincidence, isolated events. But the public? They're not buying it. Online forums, investigative Reddit threads, armchair detectives, and even the families of some of the deceased are all asking the same chilling question. Is there a serial killer in New England? Before we dive into the eerie details of this developing mystery, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into unsolved cases, hidden crimes, and strange events the mainstream media is too cautious to cover. Now let's begin. A string of deaths. No one can explain. The first case to truly raise public alarm happened on March 6, 2025, when Paige Fannin, a 35-year-old woman from West Islip, New York, was found dead in the Norwalk River, Connecticut. Her belongings had been discovered abandoned nearby. There were no external injuries, and her body was recovered with little explanation. While investigators called it suspicious, they stopped short of declaring foul play. 2 weeks later, on March 20th, Denise Leary, age 59, was found dead near her home in New Haven, Connecticut. Again, no visible signs of trauma, no obvious cause of death. Her case was labeled as undetermined and quietly added to the state's list of open investigations. Just 6 days after that, on March 26th, Michelle Romano, age 56, was found in the woods of Foster, Rhode Island. Another remote location, another woman with no known enemies, and no explanation. The death was officially not classified as suspicious, yet the location and timing alarmed many. By the end of April, a total of 12 bodies had been found across Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. Most were women, and most were discovered in forested or marshy areas, often near waterways. Then, in early June, the list grew to 13. This time it was Adriana Suazo, just 21 years old, discovered dead in Milton, Massachusetts. Her body was located off a wooded trail, far from where she was last seen. Police again reported no visible signs of injury and again offered no clear answers. Media coverage has remained scattered and cautious. Some local outlets reported the cases briefly before moving on. But online, the mystery exploded. Online detectives versus the official story. On Reddit, the thread titled, "Is there a serial killer in New England?" quickly became one of the most upvoted of the year. Users began analyzing timelines, connecting GPS coordinates, and highlighting eerie patterns. Some went as far as creating interactive maps, plotting out the dates and distances between each case. Posts began surfacing on TikTok with creators breaking down each victim's last known moments. Some videos went viral, racking up millions of views, as users speculated on everything from behavioral profiles to unsolved cold cases from the region's past. Google Docs, collaborative timelines, even podcast episodes all emerged within weeks. Despite this grassroots pressure, law enforcement has held its position. Each state police department maintains that the deaths are unrelated and are being investigated independently. No agency has formally announced a coordinated task force or cross-state initiative. To many in the public, that response feels inadequate. When 13 people die mysteriously in similar conditions over such a short span of time, skepticism is only natural. Meet the victims. Real lives. Real loss. What makes this story so chilling is the humanity behind the headlines. These aren't just names. They were daughters, sisters, friends, co-workers, people whose lives were abruptly and silently cut short. Paige Fannin, for instance, was active in real estate and known for her kindness. Her friends have spoken out, urging a deeper look into her case and criticizing what they see as vague handling by local authorities. Denise Leary had lived quietly in New Haven for over a decade. Her neighbors remember her as a sweet woman who enjoyed gardening and reading. Michelle Romano's death left her family in anguish. Her sister has publicly questioned how Michelle could be found so far from home, with no cause of death determined and no leads ever shared. And then there's Adriana Suazo, the youngest of the victims. Just 21, she had dreams of becoming a teacher. She disappeared without warning, and her family insists she had no reason to wander into a remote forest on her own. Yet her death, too, was labeled non-criminal. Each of these stories brings a wave of heartbreak, and the list keeps growing. Police responses: too little or just too late. Across all 4 states, authorities have adopted a similar stance. The cases are isolated. The public is safe. There is no indication of serial activity. The Connecticut State Police described both the Fannin and Leary cases as active, but refused to speculate further. In Rhode Island, the department investigating Romano's death said there was no sign of trauma or violence. Meanwhile, Milton police called Suazo's death sudden and unexplained, and emphasized that no foul play is suspected at this time. To citizens across New England, that cautious language is starting to sound more like avoidance. Critics argue that police departments across state lines are failing to communicate or collaborate, which means important patterns could be slipping through the cracks. Some have even begun to wonder, is this silence meant to prevent panic or protect reputations? With no suspects and no coordination, speculation is starting to fill the void that official answers have left behind. Expert opinions. Is a serial killer possible? Among the loudest voices pushing back against the serial killer theory is Dr. James Allen Fox, a renowned criminologist from Northeastern University. He's spent decades profiling serial offenders, and his take is cautious. Dr. Fox emphasizes that true serial killers often show distinct behavioral patterns. They usually target a specific type of victim, use similar methods, or follow a consistent ritual. He points out that no such pattern is evident in the current cases, but others disagree. Some forensic analysts and former FBI agents suggest the killer, if one exists, might be far more sophisticated. They theorize the suspect may be avoiding visible injuries, perhaps using substances that don't show up in autopsies or mimicking natural causes, making detection almost impossible. Some even believe the killer might be leaving bodies intentionally to be found, creating fear, not avoiding it. And then there's the chilling third theory. This might not be the work of one person at all. What if multiple opportunistic criminals are striking in similar ways? What if New England is experiencing not one killer, but a surge in lone wolf crimes that appear linked only because they reveal how vulnerable society has become? It's a frightening idea, but one many are starting to consider. Social media. Spotlight or shadow. In the vacuum left by law enforcement and traditional media, social media has surged forward. The Facebook group New England Serial Killer Tracker has grown to over 80,000 members. Inside, users trade maps, police scanner clips, and crowdsource timelines. Some posts even speculate on possible suspects, sometimes without evidence. On TikTok, creators are telling bite-sized versions of each story. One user compiled all 13 cases into a mini documentary that reached 4 million views in 2 days. But not all attention is helpful. In May, a supposed killer's confession was posted online. It was later debunked as a cruel hoax. Other users have wrongly accused innocent people based on grainy images or rumors. This showcases the double-edged nature of internet sleuthing. It can shine a light on neglected cases, but it can also spiral into panic, paranoia, and misdirection. Still, without that public pressure, some of these deaths might have been forgotten altogether. Are there patterns or just paranoia? Looking at the case from a data-driven lens reveals unsettling commonalities. Geography. Most of the bodies have been found in remote locations, forests, trails, or near water. These aren't casual destinations. Someone would have to know the terrain well, or be deliberately choosing out-of-the-way places. Timing. Almost all the deaths occurred between March and early July, as the weather warmed. That suggests the suspect, if one exists, might be seasonal, perhaps a transient worker, hiker, camper, or someone passing through for work or pleasure. Victim profile. The majority are women between their early 20s and late 50s. Most had stable lives, no known criminal ties, and vanished without conflict. But perhaps the most disturbing detail? The speed at which the bodies were found, often just 24 to 72 hours after disappearance. That's extremely rare in wilderness cases. And it could mean the killer wants them found, not hidden. That's a terrifying thought. The unspoken fear across New England. The true fear here isn't just about the deaths, it's the silence, the lack of answers, the delayed reports, the uncertain autopsies, the sense that something deeply wrong is happening and no one is in charge. Residents have responded. Some have stopped walking alone. Others have started carrying pepper spray or checking in hourly with loved ones. And in some communities, trust in law enforcement is slipping. Are these just a tragic series of unrelated events, or the work of someone terrifyingly skilled at staying invisible? Either way, the fear is real, and it's spreading. Will we ever know? So what's really happening in New England? Is it a serial killer? A string of tragic but disconnected deaths? Or something else entirely? A breakdown in communication, safety, and oversight? As of now, we don't have answers. But we do have 13 families grieving, thousands of citizens afraid, and a growing number of people who refuse to let this story be forgotten. Somewhere out there, someone knows more, and eventually, that truth will come to light. If this video opened your eyes, please like, comment, and subscribe. We'll keep reporting on this story as it unfolds, and when justice finally arrives, we'll be here to tell it. Stay safe, stay aware, and stay watching. If you have information related to these deaths, contact your local law enforcement. Awareness is the first step toward justice.